Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining. I want to start by thanking Attorney General Tish James. She's been a fantastic partner in this work, and her team has provided critical assistance and resources. And so I want to start by thanking not only her, but the entire Attorney General team. I also want to thank the team members who've worked directly on this matter so hard, including Assistant District Attorneys Michael Frantel and Daniel Possessor, Special Assistant District Attorney Gregory Morrell, Julietta Lozana, the Chief of our Major Economics Crimes Bureau here at the District Attorney's Office, Executive Assistant District Attorney Christopher Conroy, Susan Hoffinger, who heads our Investigation Division, and all of the many, and I want to pause when I say this, all of the many analysts, paralegals, investigators who are crucial not only to this investigation, but to all the work that we do here at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. We are here today to announce the indictment of Stephen Bannon and We Build the Wall Incorporated for a year-long fundraising scheme that netted more than $15 million from thousands of donors across the country based on false pretenses. Specifically, the false promise that all of the funds obtained to We Build the Wall would go toward the construction of a wall on the border of the United States and Mexico, and that, and I quote, not a penny, end quote, would go to its president's salary. We Build the Wall's fundraisers use that phrase time and again, not a penny, as they solicited donations through media appearances, emails to potential donors, social media posts, and more. But instead of pennies, the president of We Build the Wall received more than $250,000 in a salary funded by donations, at least $140,000 of which we allege was laundered by Steve Bannon. In a series of payments throughout 2019, Mr. Bannon directed We Build the Wall to transfer tens of thousands of dollars at a time to a not-for-profit corporation. This not-for-profit corporation, Bannon's not-for-profit corporation, then paid a salary to the We Build the Wall president, thereby obscuring the source of the funds, in direct contradiction to the many, many promises made by Bannon, We Build the Wall, and others associated with this scheme. In August 2020, as many of you know, Bannon and 3 other individuals were indicted by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York for crimes related to this fundraising scheme. And then, just months later, Mr. Bannon received a presidential pardon from President Donald J. Trump, former President Donald J. Trump. We then began investigating and determined that Mr. Bannon must be held accountable in this jurisdiction, the jurisdiction of New York State, for his conduct as the architect of this scheme, which impacted hundreds of Manhattan residents. Because the simple truth is that it is a crime to profit off the backs of donors by making false pretenses. In many ways, this is the sort of work we do here at the District Attorney's Office each and every day, ensuring that when a Manhattanite hands over money for a particular purpose, that they know where it's going and that it actually goes there without any smoke screens or false pretenses. And so we are here to say today in one voice that in Manhattan and in New York, you will be held accountable for defrauding donors. Bannon and We Build the Wall have been charged in a New York State Supreme Court indictment with 2 counts of money laundering in the 2nd degree, 2 counts of conspiracy in the 4th degree, 1 count of scheme to defraud in the 1st degree, and 1 count of conspiracy in the 5th degree. Those are the charges set forth in the indictment. Now I want to turn the podium over to, as I said at the beginning, a phenomenal partner in this work, and my friend, the Attorney General of the State of New York, Tish James.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the District Attorney Alvin Bragg for his partnership in this investigation. Today's indictment is a result of our joint efforts, and I want to acknowledge the dedicated members of the Office of the Attorney General who have the honor and privilege of working with each and every day for working on this case. Assistant Attorney General Greg Morrell of our Public Integrity Bureau, who is cross-designated as a Special Assistant District Attorney in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, the Director of the Crime Proceeds Strike Force and Special Advisor to the Criminal Justice Division, Gary Fishman, and the Chief of the Public Integrity Unit, Rod Murphy, and of course our first Deputy Attorney General, Jennifer Levy. Today is an important day for justice, our justice system, and our continued efforts to uphold the law. Regular, everyday Americans play by these rules, and yet too often, powerful political interest, they ignore these rules. They think that they are above the law. And the most egregious of them take advantage of hardworking Americans in the process. And Steve Bannon stands out as a perfect example of this blatant inequality. He gained power and influence as a top advisor to the former president. And he used that influence and those connections to cheat everyday Americans and carry out this fraud. You see, Bannon was the architect of Trump's plan to build a wall between the United States and Mexico. So when Mr. Bannon created a fundraising scheme to finance the construction of that wall, he basically stole millions of dollars to line his own pocket and those of other politically connected people. And today, he and We Build the Wall are being charged for defrauding these donors out of more than $15 million and for laundering the proceeds to further advance and to conceal the fraud. Between January and December of 2019, Mr. Bannon and others publicly represented that all of the money donated to We Build the Wall would be directed towards the organization's efforts to build a wall. Mr. Bannon and others repeatedly claimed that the president of the organization would not receive a single penny from this fundraising effort. But this was nothing more than a ploy to garner media attention and to rob innocent, hardworking Americans out of their money. Text messages exchanged between Mr. Bannon and a high-level We the Wall affiliate stated that if the president of the organization were to promise that he would not take a salary, that it would be, quote, the most talked about media narrative ever, unquote. But in reality, We Build the Wall paid its president more than $200,000 in 2019. And then the organization tried to hide those payments by laundering them through third-party entities, including one controlled by Mr. Bannon. In more text messages, Mr. Bannon outlined who would pay those salaries and stated that there would be, quote, no deals I don't approve, unquote. Simply put, Mr. Bannon lied to ordinary citizens about this project. He diverted their hard-earned money. He preyed upon the emotions of New Yorkers and Americans. And then when Mr. Bannon was held accountable for his criminal actions, the former president pardoned him. Given this reality, it is understandable how hardworking, honest, ordinary citizens are cynical about the two systems of justice in our country, one for the rich and powerful, and another for everyone else. But in New York, we have zero tolerance for corruption and or for abuses of power. We represent the people, and we are determined to hold accountable those who transgress against them. And there cannot be one set of rules for everyday Americans and another set of rules for the wealthy and the powerful. We all must play by the same rules, and everyone must obey the law. Again, I thank the District Attorney, Mr. Bragg, for his close partnership, his wonderful team, and I just really want to commend him and his dedicated team, and as well as those in my office for the work that they have done in getting justice today for Americans and in particular for New Yorkers. So
I think many of you may know this, but The arraignment, just as a matter of kind of housekeeping and logistics, the arraignment in this matter we anticipate will be this afternoon in room 1530 at 100 Center Street. That may not be news to some, but